What's more likely, Lions trade up or down from pick 6? What is more likely? That's crazy. I don't know. Brad Holmes is such a poker guy. Like, you can't tell. I think, how about trade down, because that's what I prefer. What do you got, Ant-Man?
See, the way they're going about it, I think they might trade up. I think they might go after Will Anderson. I do. It feels like they know there's a window to the NFC North open now. The signings they're making seem very aggressive. So I think that a trade up could be in the offing, and he's just going to go all in and put his cards on the table. So is it what I prefer? I don't know. Probably not, but I think it's more likely we go up at this point.
Jeff Meyer says Chicago sports is running the same story. Difference being Fields is the only quarterback not getting sacked. So we now just got to wait for the Green Bay Packers to do the same and the Minnesota Vikings. There's a question here I moved because of this. Would you trade DeAndre Swift? Would you do that, Dan?
Sure, but what are you going to get for him? I mean, nobody's going to take a running back nowadays and give a high draft pick. You might get a 6th or 7th, probably more than likely a 7th. But again, if we really believe we're in the position to win this year, I don't want to get rid of depth. Injuries happen in the NFL. You look at last year with Detroit, the first 7 games when we were 1-6. Look how beat up our roster was. If we would have had sound depth, could we have won 2 or maybe 3 of those 6 losses, and then we'd have been in the playoffs. So if we're really going to make a push this year, anybody who's able-bodied and able to give me some playmaking ability like Swift, I'm not getting rid of.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to give anything up for Swift unless he blows up before the trade deadline. That would be something. But then at that point, why would you trade him? You have him on the team. So I like Swift. Should we upgrade at running back? Yeah, I do think we should. But the problem is we're just not going to get a lot back from him. And I think he's worth more, at least even just being out on the field, than getting a 7th-round pick or something like that. Would you trade pick 18 for a future 1? I would want to get something else with it, and it would have to be with a team who I think is going to be absolutely terrible next year. That would be it. I don't mind getting future 1s. I love the idea. I know Ant-Man disagrees here a little bit, but if it was a team like I think is going to be terrible, what's a team you could think of that's going to be really bad? Arizona Cardinals. Well, I think they're going to suck this year, so probably have a top 5 draft pick. Maybe, and then maybe give me a 2nd-round pick or something like that. Possibility. Ant-Man, what's your thoughts on that? I know you kind of disagree with me.
No, I hate the thought of doing it, but the reason why is because I think we need to strengthen the team now. I don't want to keep pushing picks into the future. You know, this is our time to build our team and take control of this division. We've got 5 picks this year. Go and use them. We need them. Because, I mean, think about it. In linebacker, out of our linebacker, cornerback, and safety group, who are the young prospects we've got in those 3 positions? Mm-hmm. The answer is Malcolm Rodriguez and Kirby Joseph. 2 players in 3 positions with nothing else coming through at this moment in time at any of them. So go out and start replenishing your young talent and keep developing. Don't push it forward. Take it now. Get these players in. Get the competition levels there. Keep building for long-term sustained success. Don't push these picks into the future when you've got a good class this year who you can get good players with.
Yeah, look, we're a little different on that, but that's the options that if you're Brad Holmes, you got to consider. Do you want to get the talent now, or do you want to push it to the future? And not everything is going to come out. Maybe the team you think is going to suck. I think a lot of people thought Seattle would suck last year, and they ended up being pretty good. So it's a risk. If I miss your question, just repost it, and if you have not smashed that like button, please do so. Also, make sure you subscribe to Lions Talk Live. Dan there, he's a friend of the show, part of Lions Nation Unite. Make sure you subscribe to there. And, of course, Roar of the Lions UK. Ant-Man and their crew does a phenomenal job. And they're 100 away from 1,000 subscribers. You heard that right, 100 away. I want every 436 of you that are in right now to subscribe there to get this guy to 1,000 so they can get monetary for the content they're making. And guess what? The monetary don't come from you. It just comes from ads. So go ahead and subscribe to that channel. Motown Mufasa, would you rather bring Chark back or draft an early wide receiver? So me, this is what I thought we were moving the money for. I'm going to be honest with you before this had read, a rumor / non-rumor, whatever it is. It was to bring back DJ Chark. This is what I was thinking. I think bringing him back, if he can go in with the connection he had with Jared Goff the end of the year, make this offense start great from game one. I'm fine with it. He had a great connection with Jared Goff, and I want Jared Goff in this offense to continue to succeed. So personally, I would bring back DJ Chark, maybe for a one-year deal again, and it's potentially maybe something like that could happen. What is your thoughts on that one, Dan? Bring in Chark or draft a wide receiver early?
I think I'd rather bring him back just because, like you said, we already have a relationship, between the player and Goff. He already knows the offense. It's going to be easier to get him to play at a high level quickly versus bringing a rookie who's got to learn all the verbiage, NFL nuances of running route trees and communication, all that stuff. Even the best wide receivers, and we'll even use Herman Moore as one of the examples. You go back and look at their rookie years, it takes a while at that position for them to become fairly effective. So again, if we've got a year that we all think we're going to have this year, I want somebody out there who's able to go from day one at a high level. And then if we add anybody through the draft like A.T. Perry or somebody else, you're allowing that player to develop without pressure, and add depth to the team.
What are thoughts about you and wide receiver Ant-Man?
I would rather bring Chark back and develop the next guy to replace him later down the line. That is what I do, because I think Chark right now would be a bona fide threat in this team, go-to weapon for Jared Goff, providing he stays healthy. And then next year we can, get the guy after him. That's what I'd do. I would keep him, and I would draft a guy at 81 to be his replacement long term. I would go all in on the wide receiver room that way.
If you want your question answered, please put a hashtag in front of it. Hashtag Lions, hashtag Ant-Man, hashtag Bald Mike. Just something so I can see it. We got 430 some in the building, so questions are flying down, and it's hard for me to see a question that doesn't have a hashtag. And if I miss it, just repost it. I'm not ignoring it. It's just coming in quick. I got a queue. If you can see my queue, you would understand why I said just repost it. Jim says, do you think that if Goff keeps playing at a high level, will you extend him or think he would do team-friendly contract like Brady did all those years ago? I don't think he would do a team-friendly contract just because everyone wants to get paid. Do I think he's going to do a Daniel Jones? No, I don't think he's going to be that much of a headache. But of course, if he plays at a really high level, then you'd expect him to get paid like that. He's not gonna get, if he plays like a top 10, and I'm going to give you a 28th ranked quarterback contract. I don't think that would be the case. What do you think about that one, Dan? Bringing Goff back if he plays at a high level, and type of contract you'd give him?
I think this is where Brad Holmes and at least the speculation by Jeff Rizin really benefits Detroit, because we're not the only ones to hear it, and every NFL GM and coach has to be going into the NFL draft going, are the Lions considering replacing Goff with a rookie on a younger deal? I think we all agree Goff is better than we ever would have anticipated coming out of that Stafford trade. But here's the thing we all are going to have to face in 2 years. Are you going to pay him 50 or whatever it's going to be at that point, million a year? If you do, you've got to be willing to say goodbye to a lot of the rookies from last year or the year before. Do I think he's worth it? If he keeps playing like last year, yes. But again, looking at the last two playoffs, the teams that make it to the Final Four typically have rookies or rookie deal contracts at their quarterback position. I think that's where Brad Holmes is going to have to really make some hard decisions in this year's draft or in next year's offseason.
I seen somebody put a Ric Flair in there in the comment section, so immediately I got to do that. I love Ric Flair, so does Dan and Ant-Man. Alan Dana, hashtag, would you trade back at 18 and get a pick in the 20s and a fourth-round pick? So it just depends who's there. I'm all about trading back for sure, especially we don't have a fourth-round pick. If there's a premium talent at 18, no. I'm talking like, I don't know, someone that the Lions really need. Maybe a Kalijah Cansey, right? I would like to have the Lions get him if they're going to go defensive tackle. Maybe not, but if there's like 3 or 4 players that I think the Lions would take, yeah, trade back, get one of those guys, get an extra 4th-round pick or something else. And, man, what's your thoughts of moving from 18 maybe like 20 or 21 and picking up another pick?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind too much, to be fair. I guess it depends who was at 18. Like, if one of the real good corners had fallen down there, like Porter or Devon or someone like that, then no, I'd take them. But let's just say there's no one there that I'm too keen on, then yeah, I'd happily do it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Motown Mufasa, does it matter Holmes visited Alabama today? Well, there's a ton of talent at Alabama. We're talking, I mean a ton. It's not just Bryce Young. We're talking about Will Anderson. We're talking about freaking what's that? Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs, Henry To'o. You've got a ton of defensive linemen, 3 safeties.
Yeah, there's the safeties. I mean, it's Alabama. So, yeah, I wouldn't really look too much into it. It's the fact that there's a billion pieces of talent there. It's Alabama. So, I wouldn't say, oh, they're just going for Bryce Young. I think they're probably looking at everybody, as a GM should do. And that's just the way it should be. Would you sign Teddy Bridgewater for a backup quarterback? Yeah, I would right now. I think there's like 6 backup quarterbacks I'd probably sign right now that's on the free agent market for the right deal. I'm not wanting to pay a backup a lot of money. I actually agree with Neil Rule from Woodward Sports on that one. If you can get him for like $2-3 million bucks, I'm cool with it, man. Like it's a backup quarterback. If something happens, he can hold the fort down for a half a game or a game. I have no problem with that. But if he's wanting like $7 million, absolutely not. I'm not going to waste that type of money on a guy who is probably holding the clipboard for 17 weeks. Jared Goff is an Iron Man. He is not Tua Tagovailoa. He's not an injury-prone guy. He will fight through it. So not going to pay giant money. And you could just go ahead and draft a quarterback if you want to be a backup role too as well. If you don't want to go early, you can go even around 5 or 6. What's your guys' thoughts on Bronx trading Courtland Sutton for the Lions 55 pick? He fills the X-Big at 6'4", 215 young, and 27 pounds. For Courtland Sutton, Dan. So we trade pick 55 for Sutton.
I'm going to pass. We'll just go with that. I just don't think the value's there. I think there's going to be too many options in the draft at that position that are going to be around, especially at that pick. I'm just going to stick with the pick.